In the beginning, we don't scare you straight away. Hi, I'm Joan. I'm a GoalBall athlete, and I think that's all.
Do you have a particular function in GoalBall or?
No, everyone like switches position. We all play, like we all try to at least play like all positions to be able to be versatile.
So let's start from the beginning. So like, can you tell everybody what is GoalBall?
Okay, sure. So GoalBall is a Paralympic sport. It was originally made for the visually impaired, but today it can be played by everyone. So basically everyone has to wear eye shades or a blindfold so that no one can see at all. There's a 18 by 9 meter court and there's a 9 meter goalpost on both sides of the court. So it's a 3-player versus 3-player game, and each team takes turns to either attack or defend. So we need to roll a ball, which is 1.25 kg. It has bells in it and it's a hard rubber ball. We have to roll it and try and score. And of course, the opponent will try and block it. We'll use our entire body to block the ball.
I guess the rules and the goals would be simply to score as many goals as possible.
So, of course, yes, the goal is to score and not let your opponent score. So it's a 12-minute half with 2 halves and a 3-minute break in between. But usually the game time goes up to an hour plus because of all the stoppages and other delays, I guess, or more like game time things lah.
So like, when you score, you gotta pick up the ball and reset the thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
And when the ball goes out, the goal judges, there are people who help us chase after the ball when the ball is out of the court. Yeah.
Are there any physical benefits to playing GoalBall?
Yeah, of course. So for the throwing and the blocking, it's like stability because you need a lot of that to when you're throwing and blocking, like that stopping action when you're about to throw, and also when you're blocking, you need to fall properly. So I guess agility, I suppose. And yeah, of course there's the usual law. Any game you play, of course you need the cardio base, you need to have strength, so overall fitness will go up.
Are there any group of people who should not think about trying out GoalBall?
Not that I can think of, because the great part about the game is that it can be easily modified. Let's say if you have maybe a knee issue, you don't actually need to stand up to play. So before my first ever competition, I actually fractured my ankle. So what I did was I did seated throws or kneeling throws. Of course that wouldn't be as fast, but like we just do what we can, and if the game is modified, it's also fine. So we do have games where it's called like unified games. So it's where sighted people and visually impaired people, we team up and play together. So in those cases, the courts are smaller, so it doesn't really matter. And also we use different type of balls at different times. So it's still the same. The ball has bells in it, so you still can track it. You still can track it, but the ball is maybe softer, so it's safer as well. So depending on what difficulty you may have, the game is always able to modify.
The modified versions, are there like standard modified versions, or it's just a question of your creativity how you modify?
So there are, I guess, basic things that you must have. So the first will be obviously eye shades, because that is to make the game fair lah. Unless maybe someone has a hearing impairment, then that could be forgone, because at least then they can see the ball, but the ball has to have bells in it. The floor has to have something tactile. So in the real court, it's tactile lines, but for our sessions, that when we introduce it to maybe schools, we use mats instead, so that they can feel the mat and also dive on the mat, so that it's safer. And it has to have let me see how to explain this. So, okay, GoalBall is one of the most penalized sports ever. You can get a penalty for anything, even when it's not your fault. Even when your coaches make a mistake, yes, that's a penalty. So, there are 3 main penalties. The first is eye shades. So if you touch your eye shades, that is a penalty. If you the second would be 10 seconds. So upon defensive contact, you only have 10 seconds to return the ball. And the third is called a high ball penalty. So in the actual court, there are divisions on the floor, line divisions. So the ball has to land before this thing called the 6-meter line on the floor at least once. So in the modified version, there is that line too. So the ball has to, in that case, the ball has to go under the line. Otherwise, it's a penalty lah. So that's the main things that must have. The ball has to have sound. There has to be something tactile on the floor, and eye shades and that line.
So the unified games you were talking about, it's a combination between sighted and vision impaired, right? In the big original games, are there combinations like that, or are they all visually impaired?
So at the Paralympic level, or if it's a sanctioned competition, everyone has to be visually impaired. So you have to be classified as a B1, a B2 or a B3. Those are the classifications for visual impairment. But internally in Singapore, we organize games that are unified, and I think other countries do it as well. So it's internal games, it's not an official competition.
So what kind of training is involved in GoalBall? I mean, as sighted and visually impaired, when you go into the session, are you all doing the same things? Do you all train the same things, or do we just go in and start playing?
Okay, so it depends whether you're a beginner or not. So of course, when sighted people play, we would encourage them to come more for our court trainings if they would like to, because it's more fun. It's the actual game. So at the beginning stage, usually, of course, the things you need to know is techniques. You need to learn how to throw, and you need to learn how to block. You need to know the rules of the game, and that's basically it. But for us at a higher level, we need we need to know different things. So technique, rules, and skills, those are just the basic. Then we need for court sessions, we do game plans, tactics, so strategies, where to aim, when to aim, how to aim, and that's accuracy. We also need so that's a strategy, but we also need accuracy. So because if we want to aim somewhere, but if you cannot see, you need to have your muscle memory. You need to know how to aim a certain spot from a certain spot. So that's something we need to know on court. We need to have, I guess, sport-specific fitness. So things like our hips, cardio fitness, that is really important. You need to be able to last the whole 1+ hour, however long the game is going, and your muscles need to be able to keep up with it. And after that, maybe comes strength training. So strength training is lifting weights or anything with weights involved the proper way. So squats, deadlifts, that kind. It gives your muscles endurance and of course the strength to keep throwing that 1.25 kg ball. And finally, it's power, explosiveness, because every throw has to be powerful, because even if you are very accurate, you need to be able to penetrate the defensive line of your opponents. Yeah, that's about it, I think. Oh yeah, and of course mobility. So because we are not in a very usual position, I would say, when we are blocking, so we are on our we are very low to the ground most of the time when we are blocking. So there are different stances, maybe like we call it Spider-Man or like in a mermaid position. So we are very low to the floor. We need to be able to maintain that position. So your hips have to be quite flexible. You need to be able to get up and come back down easily, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, that's beginning to sound scary, because we're going to take part. We're going to try it out once the...
Oh yes, awesome! Have fun!
That's beginning to sound scary.
Don't worry. Well, actually for a beginner, it's very fun. You don't need to think about anything. You just need to know how to throw and how to block. That's about it.
I mean, I'm imagining myself as a sighted person, purposely made blind, and would I even know where the goalpost is?
So because in the beginning, we don't scare you straight away. Like when you're learning the skills, you don't need to wear the blindfold straight away. Like only when you're comfortable, then you put it on. And the great thing is that it's a team sport. So you always have someone with you. You're not alone.